Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tati and I'm very excited to announce that I'm going to be filming a little reading vlog this week and see how that goes. For the last month, I've been posting short form content on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts, and I do feel like I finally have a good rhythm on how to manage my device storage, how to get decent audio and video, how to get my dog to stop squeaking her toys in the middle of my recording sessions. I do need to take her for a W. We're not going to say the word. So I don't know how this is actually going to go or play out this week, partly because I have a lot going on. So I don't know how much time I actually have for reading, which is the whole point of a reading vlog. One of the reasons I don't have a lot of time this week is I do need to do a bit of deep cleaning. I want to get my house nice and clean before Christmas. There's a lot of clutter right now and a lot of laundry that I've been slacking on. Also, my sister might be visiting me this weekend, short notice, which I'm very excited about, but it means I want to get the guest room nice and tidy for her. I do enjoy audiobooks from time to time. I usually do immersion reading or immersive reading, which is the audiobook with the physical or ebook, reading them in conjunction. I really like that form of reading because if I'm reading just a physical or ebook, a printed book in any way, shape, or form, I tend to get really caught up in chapters, meaning if a chapter is really long, I will be dissuaded from continuing reading because I'm thinking about how long it will take me to finish that chapter, because I am the kind of person who likes to start and stop reading at beginnings of chapters, which is a personal problem. I should be able to just pick up a book and read, but I don't like that. So I tend to get distracted when I'm just physically reading a book. And unless the book is like a 6-star read for me, it's really hard for me to get so sucked in that I just do not care about the chapters or whatever else is going on around me. So that's why I like immersive reading. It just keeps me going. Like, I'm locked in. I can't stop unless the narrator stops. So I actively have to pause the audiobook and put the book down. It's just way easier for me to just keep reading for long stretches at a time. So it helps me meet my reading goals. And also, I feel like comprehension is even better than just the physical book or just the audiobook, because combined, it's just like, you're just like so immersed in the writing that I feel like my comprehension is really good when I do that. So that was a bit of a rant of why I like immersive reading. But all that to say, we have Land of Milk and Honey. This is like a dystopian, strange fiction type book. We also have Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. The other book that I could pick up tonight is The Burning God. And of all three of these, if I have to read one, this will complete a trilogy for me, which I want to finish all the series I'm reading before the end of the year. So of these three, this is the mandatory book, so I feel like I should start with this one and just get it out of the way, but I don't know if I'm feeling it. I just finished the second book. I'm not huge on reading series back to back to back because I like variety, and so I get a little burnt out. Sitting here right now, I have no idea which one I'm going to pick first. So anyways, thanks for coming along on this ride. I hope this works out, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, just for a quick reference of like what I'm going to be doing while I'm listening to my audiobook is I want to start with the guest room. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as it looks, I think. So anyways, we just need to clear all the floor space out of all this puzzle stuff and extra furniture and suitcases and get the couch cleaned off and move the vacuum. It'll look so much nicer when it's all tidied up. Right now it looks like a hot mess, but this won't take too long. That's what we got in store. Yesterday, I checked in and said I wasn't sure which book I was going to start first. I ended up choosing Land of Milk and Honey. I've been doing primarily audiobook while I've been cleaning and doing chores, and I'm about a little bit over 50% through the book. Unfortunately, I think this was the wrong book to pick up right now. This has a lot of layers to it. And it's the kind of book where I feel like if I could sit down, give it my undivided attention, do an immersive read, that it would be really high up there. But since I have been stressed out and just listening to it when I have time, primarily audiobook, while I'm cleaning, while my headspace is cluttered with all these other things, things, it has been hard to get into and to really let myself settle into the story to the point where I'm kind of still confused about what's going on. Not about the immediate plot, but about the world, the kind of post-apocalyptic world that this takes place in. I'm kind of confused about some of the elements going on that have caused the state of this world. This is definitely weird fiction. I remember requesting recommendations on Instagram for books similar to other weird fiction I've read, and one of the books I put on that list as an example of what I was looking for is Our Wives Under the Sea. That book was weird. That book was so very similar to this, very metaphorical, very layered, very intricate. There was one paragraph that I wanted to read. Still, re-entering the dining room, I felt a delayed charge, a flush on my neck, a dark house, generator running, arousal flickering on through the half-gloam of fear. Under a man's hands, brush of his body, exigent breath, I remembered how to perform. Yes when I meant no, lust or satisfaction or pleasure, gratitude as required, knowing that naked beneath a man's disappointment, there lay this possibility of violence, as pungent and close-fitting as skin. 1 pound of flesh paid freely was preferable to a bloodier extraction. My past roles of sex kitten and hard bitch. I'd learned long before this day that I could play anything to avoid the role of victim. Wow. To act as a sex kitten, a bitch, a tease. These are all things that women learn to be, these roles that they slip into to avoid the role of victim. If you're in this role of willingness, then when things get darker, you have consented to it. You've maybe lied to yourself about it when you never really wanted it at all. But it's a defense mechanism to protect yourself from being a victim in that scenario. Wow. 1 paragraph. That's amazing. I love the gratitude as required, knowing that naked beneath a man's disappointment, oh, their fragile egos, there lay this possibility of violence. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, this is a good book. I wish I had picked it up at a time where I was more prepared to really sink into it and enjoy paragraphs like those. But those paragraphs are really sneaky, I gotta tell you. Like, this book isn't littered with them, if you know what I mean. They're just scattered in here, like little treats. That's my Tuesday update. I'll keep you all posted. Just how the week is going. I typically would finish this book today, but I think I probably won't finish it until Thursday. Like, I think I need 2 more days to finish this because I'm just so short on time. And then after I'm finished with this, I think we'll pick up The Burning God. Anyways, happy Tuesday. So I finished Land of Milk and Honey by Sipam Zhang. It was the wrong book at the wrong time. This was pretty serious and intellectual, I suppose. And I kept feeling like I was missing something. There's this premise, without any spoilers, this character goes somewhere and she's with these people and it's this really weird situation that she's in. And I kept feeling like I didn't understand what the other characters were trying to do. Like, they had put her or invited her to be in this situation, and they had these side projects and motivations that were going on that were affecting the main character's actions and decisions. I kept being confused about what their whole goal was. If you've read the book, you'll understand what I was confused about. I was like, what are these guys doing? What is their plan? Like, I was so lost on that. And I think it's pretty well explained in the book. I think I just kept zoning out or missing something. And I was just like, what are these guys doing? So unfortunately, because I was so dazed and confused, I feel like this book ended up being honestly more like a 3.5 star rating for me. It's very well written, very unique plot. I'm so sorry if you can hear my doggy. Yeah, you're being cute and fluffy. There were some themes in this book that I really appreciated and I feel like were really well done. The first one is this theme that food is intricately intertwined with desire. Food, I also realized after the fact, was very intertwined with women in this book because this book has a lot of references and themes of women as this object that you want and will fulfill a need but aren't necessarily people. I also really liked the concept that the world and society has this idea of what quote unquote real food is, or what the right food is, or the best elite food is. So elitism in the foodie or chef community. So you're looking at French cuisine and people putting French cuisine on this pedestal like it's the epitome of good cooking and good food and delicacies, but then respecting the fact that less curated food also is important. It serves a purpose. And this idea of meals being prepared to perfection rather than prepared with love. And neither one is necessarily right or wrong, but they serve different purposes. So a chef serving a fancy meal is going to have it well curated. It's going to be planned out. There's going to be all the flavor profiles, but that isn't necessarily better than the food made in your grandma's kitchen, the way she always makes it. And so just appreciating these forms of cooking, eating, food appreciation. So that wraps up Land of Milk and Honey. I am glad I read it, and I have been reading The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. I am excited to finish that before the end of the year. In the meantime, I've been working on a Christmas puzzle while listening to my audiobooks. Fun, fun, fun. I am going to get some time in with The Burning God tonight, and I'll check in soon. All right, we are closing out our first ever reading vlog in the comfy chair. Hi, honey. Hi. Why don't you sit down? Today's Friday, and I started this reading vlog almost 2 weeks ago. So usually I read at least 2 books a week, and it took me 2 weeks to read 2 books, and that's okay. It really took some willpower for me to pick this up, but I knew I was going to be so happy when I finished reading it because it is my goal to end the year with a clean slate. So I did it. We made it. I get to start 2026 with just no reading obligations whatsoever. And I love that for me. Truly. Unfortunately, I didn't love this book. If you've been following my journey with this series, you know that I really loved the first book. I loved how scrappy Rin was. I loved her come up from nothing because she not just wants to make life better for herself, she wants the best. And gosh, in the first book, that just makes you root for her. You're just like, you go get 'em, Rin. And I felt like that book really did a great job explaining her decisions she made. Thought that was so well done. So in the second book then, our character arc develops in that she hasn't actually changed as a person. She's still scrappy. She's still power hungry and desperate. But suddenly those traits are a bit more questionable because she is in a place of higher power and better positioning. So suddenly it's like everything that was driving her before, it's like she doesn't need that to drive her anymore. And it's like, Rin, you don't need to do all this at this point. You've made it. I mean, I know things are still awful. You're all still at war, but you've made it. You're respected. People know you. You don't need to be so impulsive about these things. And so you really struggle with Rin in the second book because you're frustrated with her. You don't feel like she learns from her mistakes. And so there's this constant power struggle between her want for power and her having to deal with the consequences of her impulsive decisions. I think Katai in this third book says to Rin, you never think. That's the thing. You never think about anything, Rin. After finishing the second book, I really hyped myself up for the third book. I mean, yeah, I was kind of in a reading slump, so I didn't want to pick anything up, but I was really prepared for this third book to be a solid ending. I thought it was so well set up to have this amazing, amazing character arc for Rin. Instead, I feel like we got Rin from book 2 in book 3. She was still impulsive, but still regretful of the consequences of whatever decision she made. And it's just so frustrating. And so the fact that that didn't change was very disappointing. Let's talk about the fact that this is R.F. Kuang's debut trilogy. For being a debut, this is so well done because if I'm being very honest and very critical, I feel like a lot of books are so cookie cutter right now. There's one formula, there's one character type or a couple different tropes, like you mix and match. It's like a TBR jar of like how you're going to write your novel. Which formula are you going to use? Which trope are you going to use? What character type are you going to use? That sort of thing. And gets really boring as a reader to read the same thing over and over again. So what's really cool about the Poppy War trilogy is I do feel like it's its own unique thing. It's not a cookie cutter plot. Rin is not a cookie cutter character. I mean, are there tropes? Everything is a trope at this point. Everything's a cliche. So I'm not going to say there are no tropes in here. And I'll be honest, I, during the third book, started thinking of this as Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, I was thinking of Rin as Zuko, and then Naja as like Katara or something. Like, we're talking fanfic here, not canon. And Katai, who would Katai be? You guys, Katai is Uncle Iroh. Oh no, oh no, oh no, Katai is Uncle Iroh and Rin is Zuko. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I do not, let me clarify, I do not think this is an Atla fanfic by any means. But it was fun thinking about that. This was still nice and unique. I haven't read anything like this in a long, long time, so I enjoyed that. Overall, I'm gonna say this is a 4-star trilogy for me. The third book knocked it down a bit, but that's okay. I am so glad I finally read this, and I'm really looking forward to reading more of R.F. Kuang's work. I never ever hear anything but great things. I really want to read Yellowface, Catabasis, and Babel. I think that's her entire backlog at this point. So I do want to get to all of that and see what I think. Clean slate, guys. I am done with my last series of the year. Thank you again for joining me on my first ever reading vlog. If you've read either of these, The Land of Milk and Honey by Sipam Zhang or The Burning God and the Poppy War trilogy by R.F. Kuang, let me know what you thought. Are you as frustrated with Rin as I am? Because, oh my goodness. Tell me if you liked the ending of this book. I've purposely withheld commentary on the ending because I don't want to spoil anything, but let me know what you thought of the ending and I will reply back to you. So, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.